So, welcome everyone. Welcome to this month's StackRox community meeting. My name is Matthias. I'm one of the community managers at day and also developer by night. And I'm also joined by my fellow community manager, Foster.
Yeah, hey everybody. I'm Mike Foster out of Toronto. Came over, worked with StackRox for 2 years. Happy to be here at, I think, our sixth community meeting. We're half a year now at
Yeah.
this point. So, pretty excited. I know some of your faces, but I would actually love to hear from you guys. Maybe start with the newbies, people who haven't been on the call before. Moritz, you want to
Yeah,
tell us a
sure.
bit about yourself?
Hi. Yeah, so first time for me joining this meeting. I'm an engineer of the of IHACS, and I wanted to provide a quick update on a specific issue that seemed to cause some customer interest, namely the deprecation of pod security policies in the upcoming Kubernetes version, and just wanted to raise some awareness here and describe how the update to Kubernetes 1.25 will look like for StackRox customers and users.
Perfect. We have a whole time carved out for you, so look forward to hearing about it. Jan, you want to give us a brief? I'm just kind of going in order on my screen. And if you don't want to, it's fine. If I don't hear from you in 2 seconds, I'm just going to pass it off. We got Jan. Dane, if you want to chat, I know that you are probably one of our most active commentators in the StackRox channel. So I would love to hear from you. And let me know
Sure.
if you pick the right sweatshirt size.
Well, I'm in Florida, so my chances to wear it, it's seasonal. But I did actually wear it last week because it was so cold with the air conditioning. I'm a cloud security engineer with a company called Tempest Labs that's headquartered out of Chicago. Been there for 2 years, and we use StackRox. And I'm looking to expand the use of it. Actually, I'm trying to figure out how to make it work across different cloud platforms without standing up all the different instances and everywhere. So that's my current challenge to solve.
Yeah, and let us know if you run into any issues in the chat, as that's honestly a pretty cool use case that we could use. I think we have one last person here. Matthias, your friend? Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Yeah. Hey, Lucas. I'm Lucas. I'm working for a public insurance company in Germany. We're using ACS, or at least we're evaluating it. And yeah, we ran into some difficulties. We like it so far, but I just wanted to join in and see if there was something interesting we can learn.
Cool. I think that's thanks for joining. I think that's everybody. Matthias, again, the community meeting notes are in the chat. If you want to follow along, we have a whole agenda. Matthias, you want to kick it off with the first item?
Yeah, so actually that's why I rummaged through my clothes dryer and tried to find the Hacktoberfest t-shirt from the last years. So I'm happy to announce that we're officially taking part in Hacktoberfest, which is a yearly competition of GitHub, or also GitHub together with some other sponsors. And usually what you do is basically you can hand in 5 pull requests at any repository or project that's taking part. And if you do so in October, you get some nice merch and swags and stuff from them. So what we decided to do is actually we are currently rummaging through we're trying to pick the brains of fellow engineers in ACS and trying to come up with more issues that we can actually post to the GitHub issues page. So if you take a look, we're currently tagging every single issue that might be interesting for Hacktoberfest with this tag. So if you just search our issues by this tag, you will find at least all of these issues are definitely up for grabs and easy ones. There's also other open issues, so if you find anything else, please feel free to jump on. Everything that is not assigned to anyone is up for grabs, and we're more than happy to provide a little bit of help and obviously feedback and hopefully merging all of that. So, and I guess if for anyone looking into the meeting notes, Foster, I think we have a little surprise to make it a little bit nicer for everyone taking part, right?
Yeah, I have to go take a little stock of how much inventory, how much StackRox gear we have left. But the hope is to send people who are contributing and helping out with Hacktoberfest some gear as well. So look forward to that, and probably have more information at the next meeting / in the chat.
Yeah, and speaking of which, so actually Jan grabbed one of the issues that we originally planned, or Jan beat us to actually making public one of the issues, which is also, we have now a nice way of basically having a single click or one click installation and deployment of StackRox. So you can now use a Helm-based install to deploy the whole thing with just one click or one command. And that's just awesome.
Yeah, and it works like a charm too. By the way, Jan, I tested it out in OpenShift, in Google, and Amazon. Worked all 3 times. So that's your use test in case you're wondering. Next up, we have incoming changes to the open source triage process. Matthias, you want to shed some light?
Yeah, so originally what was happening is when we first open sourced StackRox, it was I volunteered together with Foster and some fellow engineers to take a look at the board and trying to triage issues. But the problem is that there's always more, or maybe not more important stuff, but there's always stuff that you need to take care of, and sometimes you just forget or there's too much to do. So we decided to actually do real engineering on-call rotations. So be prepared. The hopefully or ideally, the time to respond to issues or pull requests will shorten a bit again, because it's gotten quite long in the recent times, especially because of holidays. So that shouldn't be an issue anymore. And also expect more or different people to answer any issues that you open up. So you will not only see Foster or me primarily work there, but also other people. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, now we have our PSP expert on the line to shed some light. I'm going to take it away.
Yeah, sure. So I want to make it quick, but if you have any questions, any input, please go ahead. So PSPs. For me, it's actually the first time that since I'm working with Kubernetes, that an API is not only deprecated but completely removed. So it also was an interesting question for me, how exactly that works. I mean, when Kubernetes 1.25 is released, what do users of this API experience? And so according to also the Kubernetes Slack and all the information that we've got, it seems like the resources that might exist for this API, namely pod security policies, they are simply forgotten when you update to 1.25. But there's one important thing that users need to be aware of, which is if they were relying on PSPs before, they probably have the admission controller plugin for PSPs enabled. And they need to disable this explicitly. I believe that if they don't do this, then Kubernetes simply will not start up. So this is some manual step they need to do in order to have a smooth upgrade experience to 1.25. Now, in terms of StackRox, we have several installation methods. So, but essentially they all boil down to Helm charts that we have, and we have implemented an auto-sensing feature in the Helm charts, which means that these resources, they will not be created anymore if the PSP API is not available. So you can also control this explicitly if you use the Helm chart for manual installation, and you can also control this if you like. But the auto sensing is probably what most users will experience, and yeah, so they don't need to do anything special. Yeah, also the operator-based installation method uses the Helm chart under the hood. So same thing applies here. I think these are the most important installation methods that we need to cover. But of course, there is also a different supported installation method, which is the bundle installation. I can also say a few words about that if the interest is here. But for obvious reasons, we cannot have auto sensing there because the resources are generated ahead of time. So it's not like there's rendering going on while having access to a Kubernetes cluster. So that's why users have to like control the generation of the bundle and potentially need to disable pod security policies explicitly. Yeah.
So I would expect we actually have a toggle, a switch to turn off that, right?
Yes, so RoxStar can output the hand charts and the deployment bundles, and when you output a deployment bundle, you have a flag for toggling this, I believe. Yeah. For backwards compatibility reasons, we've decided to default, at least for now, default this to PSPs being enabled, because so the StackRox version that will be out when 125 is released, when Kubernetes 125 is released, is StackRox 371, I believe. And this is already ready for this PSP removal, but and contains all these toggles in RoxStar. But in order to not cause any surprises for customers, it defaults to the behavior of 370, which is generate PSPs if the API is available. If not, then of course we are in a different situation and the resources will not be created. Yeah,
that makes sense too, because 125 probably won't really be in support on any of the clouds for probably another 4 to 6 months minimum, right? I think it's normally 8 months trailing, so there is some time. We're a little bit ahead of it, unless you're doing an open source Kubernetes install and managing it yourself. With 125, you shouldn't run into that issue for probably another 6 months. But I don't have any questions. Matthias, any questions for? No, I think that's awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Sure.
And speaking of release, you mentioned 3.71. I think the next thing that we had, Matthias, was the release process for 3.72.
Right. So that got kicked off. What is it? So basically, we're right now in the release preparations for 72. And if you have a look at the changelog, there is actually quite a bit of stuff incoming that might be interesting for users, which is we actually removed some API endpoints revolving around policy categories. And also, I think the biggest change is that we deprecated label and annotation search options in the web UI. So they will not go away until 73, but we are basically, they've been renamed. So please have a look at ideally have a look at the changelog, because there we actually list the changes and list the replacements that you can use instead of the deprecated labels and annotations that we're basically that we're deprecating right now. I guess besides that, we also have a lot of technical changes, and I think if I remember correctly, we also have a small change to out-of-the-box policies that we ship on new installations. But I think the most important change, at least for users, will be definitely the deprecation of labels and annotations. So they will work for now in 72, but they will stop working in 73. So if you use them, maybe think about rebuilding your search queries. And I guess, obviously, if anyone has any questions about changes or new things or deprecations, please feel free to find us in the CNCF Slack, or obviously write us an email, ping us. You can basically find us almost everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, the CNCF Slack will definitely be the best way though to get an answer. And if you have the question, I guarantee somebody else has the question too. So it would be great to hear from you there. Uh, Matthias, you mentioned that you were working with NetPol, specifically MP Guard and integration. So maybe you want to just chat about that real quick, and then
Yeah,
I'll get into KubeCon.
that's also something that we might, so that we won't be shipping with the 71. So with the current release, we won't be shipping this. We will be shipping this, or this will be available in upstream. So in open source StackRox, it's actually not merged as of right now, if I remember correctly, but it should get merged till the end of the week. So what have I been up to? So I actually, in conjunction with another engineer, we developed something that is called RoxStar Generate NetPol. So as you might have guessed, this revolves around network policies. So the idea is most users don't make use of network policies because they're complex. They're not super easy to understand because it's more than just firewall rules. So we actually teamed up with MPGuard, which is an open source tool for static analysis of your deployment information. So you have your workload, which is defined in a YAML, and then you can actually use this command to statically analyze your deployment and then get network policies recommended. So really, you get network policies that you can just copy paste. There is, however, so the full feature set is available in NPGuard, which is the upstream, or which is the open source full product of another team. And we started integrating parts of it into RoxStar Generate NetPol. So at this point, we are releasing this as a dev preview. So as the name implies, we are actively looking for feedback for users to use it. So I have, in the community meeting document, I have linked the README that will be available in the full, as soon as it's merged, as the pull request is merged, this will be available on master as well. That basically explains how to use it and where to use it. And actually, it's hidden behind a feature flag right now. So you won't get this just anywhere. But generally, I would be super interested in getting some feedback from you folks in, have you actually tried to use it? Does it work on your deployments or on your resources, to be correct? And also, are the network policies meaningful? Did they help? Do you want to change anything about this? Because we're in a state of, this is basically, a developer preview. So it's a little bit more than a proof of concept, but not too much more. So we're still in the process of actively getting community feedback, and we can change a lot about this. So please have a go at this. Have a look at it. And if you are interested in the full feature set, of course, stop by NPGuard, maybe look at them. They are actually originally a Python project. So maybe if that's more up your alley, feel free to use them. Otherwise, we have a binary that is RoxStar with the feature flag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was originally sort of thought of for developers, right? We wanted to get the network policies early so that if developer just has their deployment in their service, they can generate a network policy with it and check it in. And that way operations team can do some validation a little bit earlier on. That was the goal. I'm also just curious to see how other teams would implement it, because there's a lot of different structures at different companies. Some are small, some are big. So really look forward to hearing that. And in fact, we have like a 5-minute chat just about MPGuard and network policies at KubeCon coming up. So in October 24th to 28th in Detroit is KubeCon. There's Cloud Native Security Con. There's a supply chain security con we'll be at, and OpenShift Commons. So specifically for ACS, we're going to be there the first 2 days. Monday and Tuesday are sort of the co-located events that are security focused. If anybody's planning on coming or watching virtually, love to hear from you or chat. We'll be around. And then KubeCon itself, I'm just looking to go to all the in-person events, because I haven't been to an event since before COVID. Everything's been remote for 3 years, so I'm super excited. If anybody's going, let me know. And I think that's all that I had on the list. Matthias, is there anything you want to add?
Maybe. So also the NPGuard folks are also there as well with, I think they even have their own booth. So feel free to stop by and also talk with them as well. So there might be some synergies, and we can all have a little chat together, or you can all have a little chat together, because I'm based out of Europe, and I don't think I get to fly over to KubeCon.
Yeah, I don't know if going from Germany to Detroit might be a little anticlimactic, but final point, since Jan decided that he wanted to be the first in the Hacktoberfest to pick off the first issue, we wanted to make Jan the RoxStar of the month. So I know he mentioned that he was having dinner. Thanks for listening to our meeting and listening for 20 minutes just to hear that you won something. But we really appreciate the work, and it works flawlessly, at least for me. So Jan, I'll reach out to you. I got to send you some swag. I think you'll probably make more use of the sweatshirt than Dane has, being in Florida. But yeah, again, I really appreciate all your help. And that's the last thing I had, the last thing that we had, Matthias, I think, for the meeting. Are there any questions? I just want to open the floor. Issues people are running into, suggestions, anything at all? All right. As always, if you don't want to speak about it now, you can go into the chat. It's nice we have guys like Andy Klemenko and Neil who joined as well, who are at other companies that still are very active in the StackRox chat. So you get all that wealth of knowledge from years with StackRox. So Matthias, any final words before we head out?
I guess find us on the CNCF Slack. Feel free to ping us if you have any questions or feedback. And also, finally, join us for Hacktober. It would be cool. And it's also maybe there is some swag in there as well, some additional ones. But also, it's the best way of just onboarding and starting to contribute to StackRox and therefore ACS, basically.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. Take care. Have a good rest of your day and night.